Hello, it's Gordon here. Hope all is well with you. And this Facebook Live I've called Don't Always Believe the Bull. The BS. And yesterday I was talking about a book I've just finished reading called Factfulness. That the world isn't as bad as we think we are, as bad as we tend to think it is, if we actually look at the facts. And there's another phrase that's come up in recent times, fact-checking, isn't it? A lot of news channels have fact-checking sites or items in their news programmes, particularly when it comes to politicians. And I was thinking overnight about checking facts, and I thought about something I've mentioned before, about these things that go around on social media that are shared, and people think it's a disgrace, so and so and so and so, but sometimes they're just not true, and people have shared them without checking remotely if they're true or not. And one example that sprang to mind immediately is one I've used before about a bullfighter. Don't believe the bull. See, that's why I called it. Don't always believe the bull. The BS, a bullfighter. And the picture is of a bullfighter sitting down at the side of the ring with a bull. And the story is that it's so-and-so bullfighter breaks down in tears and he realises the horror of what he's doing. And this is shared over and over and over. It's just not true. The bullfighter in question is not in the picture, and what's happening in the picture is not what is said is happening. It's not someone that's broken down in tears at the horror. It's part of the dance or the theatre of bullfighting. Part of that performance. It's just not true. And all I did to find out whether it was true or not, and I do this a lot when I see things that are shared, I just you can go to Google and type in bullfighter picture or bullfighter breaks down or something like that, and it's not hard for you to check that it isn't true. Second example is of Einstein, because I do a lot of my quote images, don't I? Quotes that I make up myself or quotes from other people. So I check. When I'm using a quote from someone else, I check the validity of that quote. And a famous quote is the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, by Albert Einstein. Right? Well, no, not right. There's no evidence of him ever having said that at all. But it's a famous quote. You'll see it. I mean, major news channels, major politicians, world leaders will quote him. Albert Einstein, definition of insanity. There's no record of him ever actually saying it. It's just not true. And you might think, okay, a picture about a bullfighter isn't true. So what? I don't know, Einstein quote. So what? It's not true. So what? Well, the third example, just 3 examples, is of the House of Commons here in the UK, and at the top it'll say it'll have an empty House of Commons with 1 or 2 MPs, and it'll say debating child poverty, empty, and the picture at the bottom will be packed full of MPs to the right, packed, bursting at the seams, debating MPs' expenses, right? And it gets shared hundreds and thousands of times with people saying it's a disgrace, they work for us, they should all be sacked. Hang on, the photo just isn't true. And there's a few of these, the MP ones with an empty House of Commons at the top and a packed chamber at the bottom. And you can check these things because in Hansard, all debates, the votes, it's all on official record. So you can check these things. Oh, hello, Emma. Emma's comment from Emma. Unless you can quote it direct from Gospel I from the book, then it's difficult to know if it's actually said by that particular person. Yes. The Einstein quote, if you research that, there are various things. Well, he might have said it. It was referenced third party in a letter that he may have said it. That's not the same as him saying it. He didn't say it in a speech. He hasn't said it in a book. he hasn't said it on a film or video interview or anything like that. So when it comes to sharing these things about MPs, for example, that does get slightly more important, because people will share it and they're making a point about, in that case, MPs being a disgrace or greedy or all about themselves, which drives home that perception about MPs. But it's based on something that just isn't true. And what I tend to do is I point it out. If someone posts the Einstein quote, if someone posts the picture of the Bullfighter breaking down, if someone posts one of these MP comparisons, I will point out that it's not true. I won't point it out in a sneering way or a superior way, but I think it's important to point it out. And here's what happens sometimes when I point it out. Because no one likes being told they're wrong, even if I'm pointing it out in a nice way. And what they eventually say is, oh, well, it doesn't matter whether it's true or not, it's the point that counts. No, well, hang on. Emma, funny how things are said sometimes do get misinterpreted. Yes, sometimes things do get misinterpreted. That's also an important point. But yes, when someone says, oh yeah, it might not be true, but it doesn't matter because it's the point. Oh, hang on. No, I'm not having that. If you're making a point and you're using a specific image to make that point, and you now know that that image is false, then you can't just carry on doing it and say it doesn't matter. Because if you're admitting that you're now using something that you know is wrong to make a point, well, the next time you make a point, people are going to think, well, hang on, is that wrong as well? See what I mean? Big word of mine, integrity. Integrity to yourself, integrity towards other people, integrity is about truth and honesty, isn't it? Emma, you meant to say hi. Yeah, I realised you were there when a comment came up saying it was Emma. So hello back. Oh, I've just thought of a fourth example. I normally like to only go for threes, but I'm going to go for four because it's just come to mind. There's a picture of a shark jumping out of the water. I think it's a great white shark, and it's a picture that won natural photo of the year at the National Geographic, and it gets shared hundreds of thousands of times. It's just not true. It is a fake. It's a fake photo. The person credited in the photo doesn't exist. You can't find him, and if you enlarge the photo, you can see where the photoshopping is not done that particularly well. So all you have to do is oh, here's something I do say in threes. Yeah, I like to go in threes. Just Google it. Google whatever you're questioning about, something to do with it. Shark photo, MP picture, Einstein quote. Just Google it, right? And then I say, look at 3 different resources, preferably. One resource might be the person's website themselves. So you might go to alberteinstein.com or einstein.org or something like that to see what that person or that person's estate has to say about it. A second example might be an open source information pool like Wikipedia. Okay, you might have to be a bit cautious with Wikipedia because it's open sourced, but the whole point that why Wikipedia is so big and successful is because it's open sourced, and not just anyone can go in and put anything in there. It then is sort of checked by other open source editors, so it's a communal effort. So there is some validity in looking at Wikipedia, and then maybe go to what you consider a trusted news source. That might be the BBC, it might be a national newspaper, a national channel in whatever country you're in. So you're looking at least 3 different sources for the same fact. There's a site called Scopes.com, which does a lot of myth-busting type things as well. So it tends to be that a lot of these things, not all of them, a lot of these things are pretty easy to find out that they're not true. So that's why I say don't always believe the bull. Don't say, oh, you've seen an image on Facebook, so it must be true. Well, clearly not. And if you see an image that someone shared and it's touched you and you think, oh, that's a disgrace, I'm going to share it. Well, hang on. Just maybe go and have a little check yourself first before you share it. Now, I could say you could go and Google about the shark photo, or you could go and Google about the Bullfighter, or you could go and Google about Einstein, but you don't have to because I've done it for you. But here's the thing. Does that make it true because I'm saying that I've done it? See what I mean? As it happens, it is true. I have done it. But the point is, don't believe me either. Go and check what I'm saying. And obviously you could go down a dark hole there, couldn't you? If you're checking. At some point you've got to make a decision. But when you see something and you think, I'm not sure about it, maybe at the back of your head you could think, what would Gordon do? Gordon would be checking this, wouldn't he? So then you can go and check it. And the next time here's a good thing. The next time you do check something, after hearing me say it, the next time you check something and it turns out to be not true, let me know. I would love to hear that someone has checked something that they weren't sure about but weren't sure after seeing me talk about it, and they've checked it and found out it hasn't been true. I would love to hear that, because then that kind of thing means that me putting my message out, it's worth it, isn't it? So, yes, infinite regressive checking, says Emma. There does come a point where you have to make a decision about whether something is true or not. Now, when it comes to facts, for example, 2 + 2 = 4. So with a fact, sure, there's only a certain amount of checking. With an opinion, well, opinions are opinions, aren't they? Yes, Emma is saying, if a tree falls in a forest and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound? Or one thing I've seen is something like, if a tree falls over in a forest, is the woman still right? I remember seeing something somewhere along those lines. So yes, and you can have a laugh along the way. Although, as I say, sometimes it can be a bit more serious when it comes to politicians, which is why most fact-checking that you get on news sites is about what politicians say. Because in today's social media world, oh, the politicians and their lies. And Twitter can go into meltdown. Oh, they didn't, that's a lie, they didn't say this, but blah, blah, blah. Actually, the facts might not be the same. I'm sure there is one. It's something about about the woman being right. If there's a man in a forest. But anyway, we all know the answer is yes, the woman is right. So, anyway, I've been waffling on a long time, longer than I thought I might do. Let me know what you think about that point. It is an important point about fact-checking, and don't be afraid to pull someone up on it. You don't have to do it in a nasty way. You're not doing it in a way to try and make them feel thick or make them feel inferior or for you to feel superior. That's not the point in doing it. If you're going to do it for that reason, don't do it. But if you're doing it all about truth and sharing truth and not spreading falsehoods, do it. Some people aren't going to like you doing it, by the way. Be prepared for that. Well, you can deal with that when that comes to it. Send them to me. Tell them Gordon said to do it. Go and tell him about it. If a man speaks in a forest and no woman can hear, is he still wrong? Yeah, that sounds about right. Is that it? If you looked at that sound, I think that's probably what it was. We've established that the woman is right. We've established that. That's like if a man says, If the man says he's going to do something, he'll do it. There's no need to keep on at him every 6 months. Oh dear, we're getting into men are from Mars, women are from Venus territory, aren't we? Which is another good book, by the way. Yes, so there we are. I think I'm gonna sign off because I've got to do another. Emma's saying nothing. Yes, neither am I. Although I just have, so I can't get away with that, can I? I'm being fact checked. You have to ask my ex-wife, see what she has to say about it. But she was a nutter anyway, so that doesn't count. Now I'm on thin ice now. I've somehow got myself on thin ice. I don't know how that happened. I better stop before it starts getting worse. Right, I'm signing off for now. Hope all is well with you. Wishing you as ever health and happiness. I'll speak to you again soon.